Hello, welcome to the Athabasca Pottery Club. This is going to be our cleaning video. As you can see, here's our clay. It did sit for about 1 week, so now it should be, it's in a stage called leather hard, so it's not quite soft and it's not quite hard, but it is at the point where it's rather easy to clean many sections of it. So those little bits of stuff we couldn't do last time, we're going to do again. So we're going to start with the bird. It's the smallest, it's the easiest. You can see that some of the spots are a little rougher. We can much more easily carve them in this state if we want some larger and bolder lines. Okay, as you can see. So anything you can carve as well to ease off parts, shape things a little bit better, get rid of weird lumps. As you can see, it's kind of off there. Okay, so all these, oh, better fix that up too. This is the spot where you can actually carve a little bit. Get some of your finer detail in. Okay, and so some of these rough things like this, you might not want, not sure if you can see that. Looks a little rough. Take a sponge, you get your water, and you're going to smooth it out. Not sure you can see that there, but it's more smoothed out. So if you got any more details you want to add, now's a really good time to do it. If you want to smooth out some of these lines, you go a little bit smaller. This is about the stage that you want to get all your cleaning done in.
Wow, I don't know, you're making it into a shape, so. What are you making?
This?
What is your end goal?
The end goal is a little bold, so all I'm doing right now is
Oh, make the wings stand out a little bit more.
get it to go up and then I'm going to put it back down again.
Okay. It's not the best bird around, but
Oh, I would
it'll be
imagine
cute.
it's very hard.
Okay. So, there. Little bird. Little knick-knack for the garden. Okay, this guy here. If you remember, we had lots of things where we roughed up but didn't clean. That's a better highlight of these edges. They just rub off now. If you remember last week, they'd smear and make one big gob. Now you can just rub them off. Your finger works for the bigger ones. The smaller ones, you actually get a dry sponge. You just run it along. You have to watch it because your joints here with the slip, you don't want to break them. It's a lot harder to fix it. It's kind of delicate until it fires. So you really have to watch this stage. This is actually a little bit of a tree stump leg I added after the video ended. It's dry now, but this is the stage where you can't have anything rough. Anything that feels kind of rough now will actually be like a little razor blade once we fire it to get to the next stage of the clay. Turn it upside down, get some of the little bits of clay out. If you look inside, I don't think the light's good enough, but there's more of these things inside. So just take the sponge, rub them through. You don't want any rough edges, any of the bigger gobs. So you can kind of see this one. It's a gob. Just use your tool. You can pull it out. The other gob I had here that we ignored last week takes a little bit. Nice thing with some of these tools is that if they're sharp, you can actually put the details back in at the exact same time you pull out the pieces that you don't like. So, for example, other things, if you want some detailing, I'm not sure if you can see it, there's a little bit of a nick there. I really don't like it. We're just going to turn it into a little serpentine S. And just rub off the excess. Looks like a line in the bark then. We are going to have to clean up a little bit around the edges. It's a little sharp there. Turn it upside down, give it a gentle pat. Look at all those clay bits. So around the pieces we added, we are going to have to be a little bit more gentle with making sure there's nothing jammed around them. The cleaning now will save you in the end. Little bits of slip that came out last time. See, this one's a little rough. Smooth it back. Just put some stuff back in. It's still soft enough in this stage that this will actually still carve. Not as well, not as easily, not as deeply, but you can still do the detailings. And if your edges are rough, you go around the edges with your damp sponge, and that will get rid of all of your rough bits. Not sure if you can see that in the video there. Just gonna go around all the edging, because if this is rough to your fingers, it'll cut like a knife, as I mentioned before. So I'm gonna go over that. You don't have to smooth out the rest of this, just make sure you get all these little burrs off, because those can be sharp if they stick. Just gonna clean up some more of this. You're going to take a lot more time than what I am with doing this, just because I'm on the video here. I don't want to go forever. So I'll keep cleaning this up. It's just more a little bit of ticky and going all over it there. Okay. Normally do this on the paper so that it's easier to clean up. And then we're going to just put it off to the side. I'll bring in another piece here. This one's a little bit drier. He dried for 2.5, 3 weeks. As you can see, he's no longer in that. It's completely dry here. So in this one, you'll still have to be using the sponge. As you can see, it doesn't want to come off as easily.
Whatever.
And I would have been fine. It's just, chances are we'll never need it if we get audited.
Well, I guess the thing is that the receipt, technically the receipt can go to Ariel.
Yeah.
In this case, if it's this dry, you actually might need a little bit of sponging to bring some moisture back into it.
Yeah, no, I already paid.
These edges here,
Right, no, I know.
once again, they're sharp. I'll have to...
Whatever, okay.
She was gonna go to UFA because I sent her an email message, I said, by chance, do you have an extra copy of it? She said, well, if I don't know if I would have thought of it, I would have said, somebody here wouldn't have a phone, just take me a picture of it so I have something.
Okay, and this end's a little sharp. Even with the sponge, I'm actually just going to trim it off a little bit. When it's this hard, you may have to moisten it a few times just so it's workable. This one was left a little too long, which is why it's a good example piece of don't let it dry completely between the building and the cleaning stage. Okay, I may need more for this. Okay. The inside edge of this is pretty sharp the way I did them. As you can see, all my edges poke inwards, and even dry, it's actually pretty sharp. And when it is this dry, you do have to be very careful because it is actually very fragile. Because, yeah, see ya? Just click. If you watch this, it's like chalk practically.
There's a stupid amount, but I
So.
took a day and a half to read it, taking it back as far as I could, and for Christmas, I said, oh, up this
These
way.
edges are,
Something stupid I missed, come keep for me.
so I'll continue cleaning this later. But yeah, the more you wipe, the more it smooths it as well. So you will lose some of your detailing unless you come in behind it and then just add more detailing in, which will then be a lot easier to clean as well. But yeah, don't let it dry out completely and it'll be much easier to clean. I'm going to put this to the side for now.
But when I came, I said, did they start with that?
This one I did clean once before. He's actually a piece made from coils. Little jewelry box. So he was mostly cleaned once, but he has a little bit more to do. So the second part was actually done when he was leather hard for the most of the carving. You can kind of see the coils right inside here, not easily. But otherwise the back's been smoothed. So we have a little bit more smoothing, but not much.
My pieces are dry, so I'm leaving.
Just a couple of pieces I couldn't quite nail, namely a couple of little marks. I'm going to just carve him gently out and smooth him some more.
Dad, and she brought a friend's, dirty muscle with her.
I brought friends.
That's good. I like those kind of friends.
Yeah, some lives with me.
There we go.
Yes, I did, I just talked about it, I'll go up, I'm going there tomorrow,
Okay, yeah.
so I'll pick one.
There we go. Those last marks are done. The edges I already pre-smoothed.
I know,
But yeah.
and I talked
And
about
that's
it
the
when-
basics on how to clean. Use whatever tools you need to. Clean up the things you didn't clean up last time. Smooth the pieces that are rough so they aren't going to be fired when they're bisqued. And be gentle with it. At this stage they will crack very easily. They'll come apart. If you didn't use enough slip, it will fall off. And you're going to have a lot more fun getting it back together. So I'll finish up this and I'll come back next in a couple of weeks when we've fired these and we can look at our glazing. Have a great day.